the cold wind sweeps across the endless steppe. A sea of grass stretches to the horizon, silent except for the sound of hooves and the distant cry of eagles. This is Central Asia in the 12th century, an unforgiving land where survival belongs to the strong, the cunning, and the relentless. Here, in a world without cities or kingdoms, a child is born who will change the course of human history. His name is Temüjin. Temüjin enters the world not as a prince, but as the son of a tribal chieftain in a land divided by endless rivalries. As a boy, he sees his father poisoned by enemies. His family is abandoned, left to starve in the freezing steppe. Temüjin learns early that loyalty can be fragile, power is fleeting, and survival demands both courage and strategy. He endures captivity, betrayal, and hunger, but the fire inside him does not die, it grows. By his teenage years, Temüjin begins to build alliances. He knows that the fragmented Mongol tribes must be united if they are to rise beyond endless feuds. He uses diplomacy, strategic marriages, and, when necessary, brutal force. Betrayal is punished without hesitation, loyalty rewarded without favoritism. For the first time in generations, the Mongols have a single leader. In 1206, at a great tribal assembly known as the Kurultai, Temüjin is proclaimed Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. From this moment, a storm begins to form over Eurasia. The Mongols are unlike any army the world has seen. They have no walls, no palaces, no fixed cities. Their horses are their legs, their yurts their homes, their loyalty to their Khan absolute. Every warrior is trained from childhood to ride, shoot, and survive. They travel light, moving swiftly across vast distances, covering hundreds of miles in days. Communication flows through a relay network of horsemen, carrying messages across the steppe with unprecedented speed. This mobility will become their greatest weapon. Genghis Khan's first target is the Xisha kingdom in northern China. Traditional Chinese armies rely on fortified cities and large infantry. The Mongols encircle, adapt, and crush. They learn siegecraft from captured engineers, turning their enemies' strengths into weaknesses. Within years, Xisha falls. The Jin dynasty follows, their cities captured one by one. The Mongols prove that even great walls cannot stop a determined force that moves like wind and strikes like thunder. Then comes the Khwarezmian Empire, a powerful Islamic state stretching from Iran to Central Asia. At first, Genghis seeks trade, sending caravans along the Silk Road. But the Shah, suspicious and arrogant, executes the envoys. It is a fatal mistake. In 2019, the Mongol armies descend upon the Khwarezmian realm with unmatched fury. Cities that had stood for centuries are encircled and obliterated in weeks. Bukhara, Samarkand, great centers of culture and learning, fall swiftly. Witnesses describe the Mongols as if a dark storm had swept over the land, unstoppable and merciless. But Genghis Khan is not merely a conqueror. He is a builder of systems. He institutes the yasa, a set of laws that apply to all subjects regardless of origin. Merit determines promotion, not birth. Religious tolerance is enforced. Trade flourishes under Mongol protection. Caravans move safely across lands that once were dangerous frontiers. The Silk Road becomes a lifeline of exchange between East and West, and the Mongol Empire becomes its guardian. When Genghis Khan dies in 1227, he leaves behind not a crumbling legacy but a machine set in motion. His sons and grandsons inherit not just territory but strategy. Ugadi, his third son, takes the throne. Under his rule, Mongol armies surge westward. In 1241 they strike Europe. Poland is crushed, Hungary devastated. European knights, heavy and proud, find themselves no match for the swirling cavalry of the steppe. At the gates of Vienna, the Mongols pause, not because they are defeated, but because news arrives from the east: GD is dead. According to Mongol tradition, the generals must return home for a new Kurultai. Europe, by a twist of fate, is spared. While the west trembles, the east continues to fall. The Mongols turn their attention to the Song dynasty in southern China. The Song are wealthy, technologically advanced, and proud, But the Mongols are patient. They learn to use Chinese siege weapons, gunpowder, and river fleets. Slowly, city after city falls. In 1279, the last Song stronghold collapses, and for the first time, all of China is under foreign rule. At the center of this new phase stands Kublai Khan, Genghis's grandson. Unlike his grandfather, Kublai sees himself not only as a conqueror but as a ruler of civilizations. He moves the imperial capital to what is now Beijing and establishes the Yuan dynasty. He adopts elements of Chinese governance while preserving Mongol military dominance. His court becomes a crossroads of cultures. Persian astronomers, Arab doctors, Chinese scholars, and European travelers like Marco Polo all gather under his rule. Kublai's empire connects continents, creating a flow of knowledge, goods, and ideas unprecedented in human history. The Mongol Empire at its peak is staggering. It stretches from the Pacific Ocean to the heart of Europe. It rules over more than 100 million people. No empire has ever connected such distant lands so quickly. Yet beneath the surface, cracks begin to form. The very mobility that made the Mongols unstoppable makes governing a vast empire difficult. Communication over such distances is hard, loyalty of distant generals uncertain, and succession disputes common. After Kublai's death, the empire fractures into separate khanates. The Golden Horde in Russia, the Ilkhanate in Persia, the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, and the Yuan dynasty in China. These khanates retain Mongol identity but grow increasingly independent, following their own political paths. Enemies adapt. In the Middle East, new powers rise. In Russia, the Grand Duchy of Moscow begins to consolidate strength. In China, the native Ming dynasty emerges, harnessing Chinese discontent to expel the foreign rulers. In 1368, after decades of rebellion and weakening control, the Ming overthrow the Yuan. The Mongols retreat north, their Chinese empire gone. In Persia, the Ilkhanate collapses amid dynastic disputes and the Black Death, which devastates populations across Eurasia. In Central Asia, the Chagatai Khanate splinters into smaller states. In the West, the Golden Horde's power wanes as Russian princes grow bolder. The unstoppable tide that once swept continents now recedes. But the Mongols leave behind more than destruction. They reshape Eurasia's political map. They revive and secure the Silk Road, allowing goods, technologies, and ideas to flow across continents. They spread technologies like gunpowder and paper-making westward, while new crops and knowledge move east. They demonstrate the power of mobility, discipline, and adaptability in warfare, principles that echo in military strategy for centuries. Their empire, though fragmented, accelerates the emergence of a connected world. For centuries, the Mongols have been remembered as both destroyers and builders. In some lands, their name inspires fear, cities burned, populations slaughtered. In others, it evokes respect for their discipline, their organization, their surprising tolerance in an age of rigid empires. Their story is not simple. It is brutal and brilliant, violent and visionary. The Mongols rose from a land that offered nothing but hardship. They forged unity where only division existed. They conquered with speed that stunned empires, ruled with systems that connected continents, and left legacies that outlived their khans. From Temüjin's struggle as a boy to the vast empire of Kublai Khan, their journey is one of the most extraordinary transformations in human history. And even after their empire faded, their influence galloped far beyond the steppe, into the maps of explorers, the pages of history, and the interconnected world that followed. The Mongol Empire reminds us that sometimes history's greatest forces emerge not from cities or thrones, but from the wild, untamed frontiers where ambition meets opportunity. If you enjoyed this cinematic journey through the rise and fall of one of history's greatest empires, subscribe to the channel for more epic stories that shaped our world.